So in this video, we'll be going over the process of disabling your arc on input, and your arc on input or your arc sensor would typically be used to give feedback to the software about your current plasma state, such that your cutting would only be started after your arc on input is on, and your cutting would be stopped in case it's off. And typically, we highly recommend that you use the arc on signal from your plasma power source. However, if you'd like to disable it in case you don't want to use it, or you would like to test the system, etc., you can use three simple methods to do so. And you can use either of these methods, whichever one you prefer. But first of all, before we go in depth about these methods, we'd like to actually find out what our arc sensor is actually set to be. So here I have my PLC, hardware PLC, pins H, and we scroll down to our inputs and we locate the input arc and this value that's assigned to it right here. So this number is our input 3. So in my case, I have input 3 assigned to my arc sensor. And in your case, you may have some other input, perhaps input 0 or input 1, etc. So the first method would be to physically short your arc on sensor on your controller. Here I have an ET7 control board in this photo, and what I would do in this case is, first of all, I would short the corresponding jumper. So in my case, let's say I'm using input 0 here, as in this photo. So I would use jumper J1 to power up the binary inputs 0, 1, 2, 3. Then I would use a connection from input 0, in my case, to ground, and I can use any of the ground pins. And then I would check that the corresponding onboard LED would be on. After which, I can go and check in my diagnostics whether this LED is on. So for method 2, you can go into your settings, configuration, common hardware settings, and then flip the corresponding input bit. So here I'd flip, let's say, input 3 or input 0. I would save. And afterwards, I would go back into my diagnostics tab to check whether this input is on or off. So, for example, I would like this input 3 to be on. It's on right here, and it is also on within this plasma tab at the bottom of your screen. So you can see that your arc sensor is currently on. And let's say we disable it again. It will be off, and it will be off in the diagnostics. Let's put it back here. And for the third method, you can actually disable the entire checking procedure during your initial height control. So here you have your M71 start cutting PLC. You scroll down and you locate this due weight plasma line right here. So this function is actually described in detail in your func plasma H file right here. If we scroll down, we can see this function right here. And what it does is it checks the input arc value, again, the one you have in your pins H. So in my case, that'll be 3. And then it checks whether that's on or off and proceeds from there. So if we'd like to remove this checking, we can simply go to M71, our start cutting PLC, and we can simply delete this line right here. After which we would press the Save All, Build All, and Send buttons. So just to recap, you have 3 different methods on how to disable your arc on input. The first method is to physically short your input on your control board. The second would be to invert it through common hardware settings. And the third would be to remove your line dual-weight plasma from your M71 hardware PLC. Thank you for watching. Please visit our documentation at docs.pvautomation.com for more information.